Haason Reddick, who hurt Brock Purdy last year, was asked after the Bills-Eagles game on Sunday about the Niners coming back, and he said, he said this, talk is cheap. They get to come back to the link, and then he went on with this.
There was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that up, and prove it again.
And you know what? He was right. There was a lot of boo-hoos. There was a lot of we coulda, we shoulda, we didn't. But what I'm a little more interested in as this week goes along, it's just getting started. The trash talk has been going not directly at each other, but kind of indirectly since the Super Bowl. And I fully expect Philadelphia to say more stuff this week. There's no doubt they feel this way. They feel like the Niners cheapened their NFC Championship game last year by the things they said afterwards. But I think what's interesting about what the Niners said was not so much the boo-hoos and we coulda, shoulda, woulda, because I thought I understood why they felt that way. I understood why they said it. At times, it felt like it was a little too much sour grapes. But I actually think the counterpoint to that would be just that they really believed that they had the recipe. And I think that's the part, more than the shit talking and the trash talk and the emotions of it, that's the part that's actually I wonder if whatever the Niners thought they had last year, they still have on Philadelphia. And I think the answer is yes. Think about what people say about Philly right now. What's the number one criticism of the Eagles besides just the general they haven't played great? And you're talking to somebody, you can check the YouTubes last night, last week. I don't think you can judge this Eagles team. I have respect for this Eagles team because I don't think you can judge this Eagles team by some of the metrics, some of the rankings, the point differentials. You know, I said this last night to John. The point differential is a huge difference in point differential. And I think normally you look at that and go, well, that, you know, the team that has the bigger point differential is the favored team. The Niners are actually favored. But Philadelphia doesn't have a big point differential, but when you look at their schedule, they've won a bunch of close games against good teams. Buffalo being one. I mean, they pulled that sucker out of the fire on Sunday. So the point differential means nothing to me. The fact you beat the Giants 2 months ago by a bunch of points, who cares? Like, I just, it doesn't matter. Look at ask yourself this. Who are the point differential kings? Cowboys. All right. But remember this.
Yeah, right. Where are the hoes?
Debo on the I Am Athlete podcast before the Super Bowl last year.
Hoes. Yeah, right. Where are the hoes?
No. There's hoes.
What's the hoes?
It was some
The
wide
back
open
end.
plays now.
The back end. You got the all pro and the all pro. The D line make both of them all pros.
You don't, so
Besides Slay, I respect Slay.
what about Bradbury?
Trash.
Bradbury's trash? He the one that made all
Did you see the play that Brandon had? The second play of the game, he got hurt. Purdy got hurt.
Time out.
The separation, like, it's just like.
It's football. You gonna make some plays? Man, you called him trash.
Remember that one? And of course, James Bradbury, you know, Darius Slay and James Bradbury are playing more snaps than anybody on the defense. They're their two starting corners. And you heard what Debo said. Like, they think they were going to score a touchdown on the play that Purdy got hurt. And I thought the touchdown to Ayuk last week, while it had nothing to do with the Eagles play, it was a little similar in the sense that it was Brock rolling, or it was Brock kind of taking a big drop. He had to get the ball out. He had pressure coming from the front side. It was not Haason Reddick, but his right tackle, just like tight end against Haason Reddick, his right tackle got smoked. Go back and watch the touchdown he threw to Ayuk on Thursday night. He gets smoked. He's got a defender coming right at him. His elbow's exposed. He stands up and throws that ball on time. Brock being quicker this week is going to matter, not just because it's going to protect him, but because these guys think they got touchdowns out there waiting to happen. This was the Ayuk. This was Ayuk on Brad's podcast, the SF9 or YouTube channel, the SF9ers YouTube channel, massive YouTube channel. This was Ayuk. Remember what Ayuk said? He was asked about Eagles Chiefs before the Super Bowl. This is what he said.
This Kansas City pass game will expose what we thought we were going to be able to expose before some fortunate circumstances happen. So we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, you got to get lucky to win the Super Bowl. And they just got extremely lucky.
So, like, what I'm trying to say is I love all the shit talking. But what I'm more interested in this week is not the It's the Niners' belief that on the X's and O's, they've got the advantage. Superstar players on both sides. The only question, as far as I'm concerned, it's not about Hurts. Hurts is going to bring it. It's not about whether your pass rush can create problems for Hurts. They're going to. 49ers pass rush is going to create problems for Hurts. Hurts is also going to create problems for them. It's not about whether they can cover A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Those guys are going to make plays. They're superstar receivers. They're going to make plays. The question is, Brock in the rain, can the ball get out quick and on target? Like, and the good news for Brock is, even though he didn't play in this game last year, he went through all of the lead up. You know, as big as this game feels, and it feels like the biggest game ever, that game last year was bigger because it was the NFC Championship game. And Brock went through that. He went through the preparation. He went through the film study. He went through the practices. He went through jogging out onto the field for pregame warmups. He went through whatever those butterflies were. As much as it sucked to lose Brock Purdy 5 minutes into the game, Brock still got a lot of the experience of playing the Eagles in the Link outside of just the playing of the game, which is the most important experience. Of course, that's the most important experience. But he didn't get nothing out of that performance last year. He got all that. He knows what it's going to feel like before that game. He knows what he thinks he can do against that team and where he thinks they got to be concerned with them. Just like last year, their pass rush is fantastic. And just like last year, the Niners are going to go into this game thinking that they can expose their secondary. And I think the Niners, I think they'll try to run the ball more early, but we'll see. I mean, you think back to, I wonder if with the wet and the rain, if Kyle's going to pull an okey doke and try to really throw the ball early, because that's where they feel like their advantage is. And I think the natural inclination in these elements is hold back, kind of play the battering ram. But I wonder if he's going to do the opposite. So this game is, the matchup's incredible for a bunch of reasons. But one of the kind of forgotten reasons is, or maybe it's not forgotten, is that the reason they were so, it was the weirdest game, one of the weirdest games I've ever watched. To watch a game unfold when it's over already. It was bizarre. It was really a bizarre. I might go back and watch that game this week, actually. It was bizarre. But I think when you look back on it, the stuff that these guys said it wasn't just we didn't get a chance to do it at full strength. I think they really felt like they were about to hang like 34 on those guys. I don't know if they were or not. Maybe Philly was going to do the same to them. We'll see. Because they got a lot of the same guys back. The Swift is, I think, a great fit for this game because he's like all the Niners. He's like the Niners. I mean, he's strong and fast. He really fits into this game. All these guys fit into this game. Gio, the Eagles are the better team as far as games played and finding out ways to beat good teams. The Niners got to score points. Can Brock stay upright in the game against this D-line? It's going to be great. Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, not being as good in terms of just game-to-game domination. They've got a better record, so they've been better. But not being as good in terms of game-to-game domination leading to that point differential has led the Eagles to play in a bunch of games that simulate playoff games. And I think that's why I don't think the point differential means dick. Like, I like point differential in terms of like trying to figure out over the course of a season. But in terms of preparing for a game and pointing to two different point differentials and going, see, I mean, I just don't. I've watched all these Eagles games. You've watched all these Eagles games. In the playoffs, they look more like that than they do like Giants. I mean, Niners, Steelers. So whatever. I'm not saying it means something in their favor. Actually, I am saying it means something in their favor. It does mean they've proven repeatedly they are going to win those games. The game they won on Sunday was a playoff level desperation. It's all on the line. Here are not one moment, because here's why those games are so interesting. Is because it's never just about can you make one throw or can you make one play or can you get the stop. You have to make 7 throws and get 7 stops and make 7 plays because they're going to make plays. So the close games is something that's in their favor. Now the Niners, I think they can win it. I don't see any reason why the Niners can't win those types of games. They've done it historically. Now, not as much with Brock, but this is why it's such a great opportunity for him. This is why this game is just so valuable, because you're going to probably have to play it again in the playoffs. Aside from the standings value, you're going to play this game again in the playoffs. And if you're going to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to win multiple games that feel like this Niners-Eagles game feels. You aren't that important, says, which is good. A good thing to remember. We treat Philly like we treat Philly like we do the Rams. Aaron Donald, lots of screens, jet sweeps. Debo should have a good game. Yeah, I mean, these guys think they can get open, that Ayuk can get open down the field on Philly. The question is, do you have the time, and will the weather allow it? Why didn't Haason talk like this when he was in Arizona? Because he was in Arizona. Big Dez, Niners need to stay out the media this week, especially Debo. Just show up and ball. It's not the worst thing to get a team. We already know this game is going to be peak physicality, max emotion. Who keeps their head is going to be a part of this game. It's always a part of big games, but it's going to be a part of this game. And, what did the officials allow? So it feels to me like the situation last year got under the Niners' skin. They can get under your skin. Sirianni can get under your skin. The crowd can get under your skin. Hurts, you're going to think you have him sacked and he's going to make a play. That's going to get under your skin. You're going to want to hit him hard the next time. The tush push, it's going to get under your skin. You're going to jump off sides and, hit the left guard and push him all the way back to the ground into Hurts. So there's all these things that happen when you go to Philly based on the environment and just based on their quality that can get you kind of out of the right brain frame, mindset. And, who keeps their head is going to be a part of this. So Haason Reddick was not on him. Haason Reddick's voice, by the way, sounds exactly like
a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that up and prove it again.
His voice sounds exactly like his voice should sound. I don't know that I've heard Haason Reddick talk before, but that's how Haason Reddick's voice would sound if you let me create Haason Reddick's voice. This is a good take. CJ, it's our fault we lost the game. Easy to forget that. Easy to forget that the Niners made a decision that directly led to the quarterback getting hurt. That was a kind of indefensible decision, and they've continued to defend it. And the defense was and is, if Brock had just got the ball out on time, wouldn't have been a problem. So hopefully Brock's better. He has been better. And does get the ball out on time. Big game I think it's a big Debo game. Like this is, it does match up well. Kyle's offense attacks LBs, which is a weakness. Linebacker. It's all about just getting it out. What did go back to what Debo said there in Sleep Train Arena? Their DBs are good because their pass rush is good. That was his take. As long as the ball comes out. But the X factor here is the weather. If it's raining, is the ball going to come out where you want it to come out? Flav, Eagles remind me so much of these Seahawks teams. Somehow get the biggest breaks, calls, no calls, hang around, and then somehow win at the end. So somebody asked me that last night on Twitter too, and I thought it was a good comp. They're different. I mean, we'll see if this team wins a championship like Seattle won, and Seattle had a more intimidating secondary. But I do think there's similarities. And I think the similarity is that one of the ways they create their breaks and one of the ways they get their luck is just pure aggression. if you subscribe, or they do subscribe to the Robert Saleh thing, which was, I don't remember it exactly. It was basically like, make full speed mistakes. We're going to go 100 miles an hour, and it's going to create a couple problems. But in the end, the fact that we are going 100 miles an hour on every play is going to get us more breaks than not. And we're just going to be gutsy. We're going to go for things. We're going to go for fourth downs. We're going to force the issue. We're going to be really aggressive. We're going to hit your guy. We're going to hit your guy. We're going to hit your guy. And maybe it'll be legal, or maybe we'll jump off sides. But in the end, we're going to create our breaks that way. I'm not going to dedicate much time this week. We'll see how the game plays out, to the officiating. Buffalo got some breaks at the end last night too. They missed some calls for Philly. The fact that Haason Reddick horse-collared Josh Allen and threw him down, and it didn't get called, that's good for the 49ers. This will be on the list of things that the officials are looking for this week. Charlie says, I disagree with Guy. Their point differential tells me their defense is exploitable. That's fair. That's fair. But I just, to me, that watch the games to tell you their defense is exploitable. Their defense is exploitable. That is an accurate point. That's an accurate point. But I also think you're not necessarily comparing apples to apples when you go through point differential this far into the season, and you've played different teams with different situations. The Niners play really well from ahead. They play really well when they get the lead, and then they can just bury you. And how many games have you watched them play that have felt like basically like 3-quarter games, 2.5-quarter games, where it's just about piling on then in the end? And I don't think Philly will let them play that way. And that's why point differential means less to me this week. The Niners can score on Philly. Yeah, the Niners score on everybody. They can score on everybody. It's more about the style of the game. And how do you handle if you're used to laying 3 punches, and this is what the Niners do, right? They just boom, 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 boom. Other fighter is on his back. Well, Philly makes you play a 4-quarter game. It's a 4-quarter fight. And I think what we have not seen the 49ers do is get in consistently this year as the Eagles. Let me be really specific. Is get into the fourth quarter trailing or tied or whatever, and then come out with the win. I think they're capable of it. I mean, their history tells us they're capable of it. I don't see any reason. I know Brock threw the picks in crunch time situations. I don't think that's who he is necessarily. But that's where I think maybe the better way for me to put it, Charlie, because it's fair to say it tells us something. So that is fair. The better way for me to put it is this. I think it tells us more about what they are than what they aren't this year. What they are is a team that finds a way in gritty, grimy games to win in the end. And that is more real when it comes to what playoff football and like what your conference championships and what your Super Bowl are going to look like, than being able to kind of just try to start icing a game. And how many games in the third quarter has everybody watching the game thought, time to get McCaffrey out? Like, those are just that's not a normal championship type game. Now, maybe they'll do that to Philly and we'll go, God, they're just that good. But I in some ways, I'd be more impressed by playing the type of game Philly and Buffalo played yesterday and winning that game. Because you're just going to have to at some point. And yeah, I mean, they can score on Philly. They can score. The question is, when it's 30-30 or whatever it is, do you make the play? And they don't make the play. Under the pressure of, here's a game-winning touchdown opportunity. Gabriel Davis goes this way. Josh Allen throws it this way. They weren't in the biggest moment. They weren't on the same page. In the Eagles' biggest moments, they were on the same page yesterday. Where'd this go? Hold on. I saw a good one here I want to get to. Worried about the refs. I think the refs will be on alert. Actually. So I think it in a weird way benefits the Niners that No refs listed for this game. All right, well, keep me posted on that. I lost. There was a comment I wanted to get to here, but I lost it. Thanks for the super chat there, by the way. Gonna take revenge. Where was this? John, this is a good one. John, Commanders dropped 30 plus on them twice. Eagles are mid at best. And they lost to the Jets. I'm not gonna judge them on Jets Commanders games. I'm gonna judge them on Bills, Cowboys, Niners. Those games where they feel like they're playing their equals. They're not unbeatable. Please don't but I just take them. I take them more seriously than some of the numbers. Some of the numbers that make it look like, if you go, well, we're first in this category, they're 17th in this category. That's not even close. All right, you got to go make the plays though. The same plays you make in these other games, you got to make in this game. In the rain, in the cold, on the road, against this team that doesn't punt. Against a team that really believes. They believe in themselves more than some of the defensive metrics. They just believe. And part of it is they really believe in their quarterback, really believe in their guy. So I just think there are some things that can't be measured over the balance of all these games because you approach all these games differently. And they're going to approach this game the same way the Niners are going to approach this game. But remember, the point of the number one takeaway from what I'm saying today in this video is this. The Niners believe, forget about the emotion, forget about the trash talk. They fundamentally believe from an X's and O's standpoint, not like we could do some things on them. Their two receivers said, basically, we were going to expose. I think he said we're going to expose. You said we're going to expose them. Debo didn't just say yeah, I mean, I think we would have had. Debo called James Bradbury trash repeatedly. So, I mean, the point is they really believe they got these guys' number. We'll see. All right. That's it for this morning. Got to get on with the day. Got to get on with the week. Thanks for hanging. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Keep the feedback coming and talk to you later. Adios. Have a good day, everybody.